How are you, brothers and sisters? Most welcome.
So, Brother Francis Atwoli, Secretary General Kotu, Brother Kasahun Folo, President Setu, Brother Hanad Mohamud, Regional Programs Director for Africa, Solidarity Center, Brother Albert Njeru, General Secretary Kudeha, other leaders present here, brothers and sisters, good morning. My name is Caroline Kasina. I work for the Solidarity Center. I'm the Programs Director for East and Horn of Africa. And I take this opportunity to welcome you to this workshop, and especially for our brothers from Ethiopia, Karibuni Sana. So the reason why we are here, and having had a lot of discussions with trade union partners here in Ethiopia, we realize the importance of organizing, and we know that organizing is a core function of trade unions, right? Without organizing, trade unions would not exist because you will have no membership. So we saw it fit because you sort of share the same experiences in Kenya in terms of, many sectors, construction, EPZ, agricultural. We saw it fit to bring you together to share experiences, successes, failures, challenges in terms of organizing sectors, especially sectors where employers resist trade union organizing. And we are glad to have you. I know you'll have 2 days of fruitful discussions, find spaces for linkages going forward, where you can have solidarity support for each other. And going forward, this is something that Solidarity Center would like to focus on, build political linkages, and we wish you well. So today is going to be a full day of discussions, nothing technical. We just want to hear what KOTU does, what SETU does, from the organizers themselves. So I welcome you, Brother Mohamud, to talk about Solidarity Center and the reason why we choose to support programs like this. Thank you. Yeah.
Sisters and brothers, good morning. First of all, I would like to extend to you the greeting of your brothers and sisters in the American trade union movement. I would like to extend their greetings of solidarity to both SETU and KOTU on behalf of the Solidarity Center, AFL-CIO. Having said that, I want to emphasize how much of an honor it is for us as a Solidarity Center to be able to partner with KOTU and SETU in this historic bilateral exchange. We are in the presence of 2 of the largest trade union federations in Eastern Africa, 2 centers of excellence, 2 bastions of worker rights struggle. And it is indeed an honor for us to join with these 2 national centers as they proceed on this exchange focused on organizing. The trade union movement in Africa, in the United States, in other parts of the world, is seeking to mitigate the effects of globalization on labor, the increasing precarious nature of work, the increasing challenges faced by informal workers, backwards movement in labor law protections for workers. All these challenges are present here in East Africa, in the United States where I'm from, and in other parts of the world. But it is becoming increasingly apparent that the only way to confront these challenges is for the global labor movement and trade unions such as SETU and KOTU to be together. The unity of workers is essential in ensuring that there is broad-based economic development. The voice of workers is essential in ensuring that forward progress is made in the lives of the ordinary men and women around the world. That is what unions do. Unions speak for the voiceless. They care about the plight of those who are exploited. And most of all, unions struggle for human dignity. So who we have here today, leaders from SETU and COTU, are people who struggle for human dignity. And because you lead those struggles in this region, on behalf of the Solidarity Center, I salute both of you. I want to also say to you that as this is a beginning, not an end, I know that the discussions today and tomorrow will be deep. I know that many opportunities will arise from these discussions. I would like to say on behalf of the Solidarity Center, AFL-CIO, that we are ready to partner with you, SETU and COTU, to continue this process and to be partners with you from whatever comes out of this process. Collaboration between trade unions in this continent is a key priority for us to support and partner with, and it is our honor to do that. With those few words, I would like to invite my brother, Folo Kasahun, to come with his remarks.
Good morning. My elder brother, Francis Atole, Secretary General of COTU Kenya, and President of OATU, and the Vice President of ITUC. Mr. Hanad Mohamud, Solidarity Center Country Program Director for East and the Horn of Africa. But we heard breaking news this morning. So congratulations, no more for East and Horn of Africa only. Now he's responsible for all Africa. Thank you. Without forgetting our backbone, our mom, Rabika, COTU Treasurer, I'm very pleased and honored to be here and deliver this opening remark at this very important experience sharing workshop. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of my delegation to thank American Solidarity Center for their financial and the technical support and realization of this important experience sharing. And also, I would like to thank COTU Kenya for their warm welcoming. For the benefit of COTU Kenya participants, let me begin by sketching in the briefest fashion possible the profile of Confederation of Ethiopian Trade Unions. SETU is the sole national center for more than 650,000 workers, is a free confederation of 9 independent industrial federations, which are the sectorial umbrellas for about more than 1,700 basic trade unions. It has 8 branch offices in Hawassa, Dredwa, Mekelle, Bahar Dar, Jimma, Adama, Finfinne Special Zone, and the Kombolcha. Established in 1963, it is one of the largest and the oldest membership-based civil society organizations in Ethiopia. Our confederation has been making every effort to advance the interests of the working class and defend the rights and the benefits of Ethiopian workers. For this, the main objective of SETU is organizing unorganized workers. More relevantly to this event, SETU is working with government, employers, and other pertinent stakeholders. And the SETU is participating in different committees and boards at national level. Dear participants, the government of Ethiopia, in its both 1 and 2 growth and the transformation plan, highly give prominence to create huge jobs. As a result, the government is building industry zone and many industry parks in different parts of the country in order to attract the foreign direct investment. In turn, many job opportunities are created. Of course, we highly valued and appreciate the jobs done by our government in this regard. This shows that there is high potential and a good opportunity to increase the membership for SETU. However, the jobs created for many workers are very low wages and the freedom of association is not respected. To address those problems, SETU prepared a 5-year strategic plan. SETU has its own organizing strategy to recruit members. Our delegates, representatives, will brief you later the details on our organizing strategies, challenges, opportunities, and the result what SETU achieved for last 3 years. Therefore, our expectation from this experience sharing is to understand, learn how our brothers in Kotu, Kenya are organizing in resistant sectors. Also, we'll share our experience and to introduce our affiliated sectorial federations to their counterpart, in turn to create network among each other. On top of that, it helps us to identify the strategies for organize the workers in the resistant sectors. Once again, I would like to thank American Solidarity Center for supporting this very crucial experience sharing, and also I would like to thank our brothers and sisters in Kotu, Kenya for accepting our request and for their warm welcoming. At the end, I would like to thank all of the organizers from Solidarity Center, from Kotu, Kenya, and also from SETU for the preparation of this experience sharing. Wish you a fruitful and a successful discussion. I thank you for your attention. God bless you.
Sisters and brothers, it is my distinct pleasure to invite the General Secretary of the Central Organization of Trade Unions, Kotu, Kenya, to officially open our deliberations today. Brother Francis Atwoli.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much, Brother Arnold. And let me also take this odd opportunity, or seize this odd opportunity, to congratulate you for your new appointment as African Region Representative of the American Center for the International Labor Solidarity. You deserved it. You have worked, you have been with us for some time, and that was the best choice that the American Center for International Labor Solidarity would have done. Your presence on this continent is historical, and all what you people have done to Africa deserves an African to head the American labor movement on this continent, for purposes of making sure that we narrow our relationship, that is between the working men and women of US and Africa. The ACILS, or American Center for International Labor Solidarity, is our historical partner, because prior to our independence, the American Center for International Labor Solidarity directly involved in activism activities to make sure that Africa, Asia, and Latin America, they achieved their freedoms through a labor movement. Most of the young people are unaware. They think that it is politicians who initiated freedom fighting, without knowing very well that all started with working poor, or the laboring poor. And the American Center for International Labor Solidarity, then known as ALC, African Labor Center, took a center stage to make sure that the centers on this continent were properly housed. Centers on this continent had training institutions, and leaders at that time were properly trained and supported heavily to make sure that they could be leaders who can create awareness as far as freedom fighting is concerned. So, Brother Nad, we want to assure you that you have our support and protection as ACILS African Region representative or spokesperson. I remember very well that our Tom Mboya Labour College in Kenya, one of the prestigious workers' colleges, not only in Africa but now in the world, it was properly furnished by the FLCIO through ALC, which is now ACILS. And not only that, they seconded a colleague from the United States of America to assist in establishing programs for workers in this country. And it didn't end there. When we were putting up our solidarity building, though with Kenyan workers' money, but the supervision and material support too, we received from FLCIO through the then ALC, which is today the American Center for the International Labor Solidarity. So our relationship with ALC or ACILS is very sound, and it will be there for so many years to come. And what you people might not know, Brother Albert Jeru, is that during those when we had Cold War between the East and the West, today, as Secretary General of COTU, I would be also having another salary, earning salary, full salary, from the American Federation of Labor, Congress of Industrial Organization, through the African American Labor Center, which is today American Center for the International Labor Solidarity in Africa. Not only me, but all leaders on the continent in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, they could financially get support from FLCI so that they can redouble their efforts in representation, and they can also work without soliciting support from the then colonial governments or employers at that time. And as we will go through your today's program, you will see A hungry organizer, because you are here for organizing, cannot organize even one member to a union. So I want to thank and congratulate the appointment of Mahmoud Hanad, and we honor it and we support you for that. I want also to recognize my own brother, Brother Kasaun Follow. This is a young African man who has done a marvelous job in making sure that in this region, labor movement is rooted and it is strong. I have had an opportunity to be associated with ZETU leadership. ZETU leadership is democratic, is really has leadership, and they have structures. I happened to witness the previous Congress in Addis Ababa, where Brother Kasaun and his colleagues were being re-elected back to the office to lead ZETU. ZETU is really has a mandate, has structures, has constitution, has a recognition agreement between ZETU and the Ethiopian government and employers. So, Brother Hanad, the people whom you are seeing here are really true workers' leaders. I have witnessed at that time in my position as the president of the East African Trade Union Confederation and as also a current president of Trade Union, Trade Union Federation of Eastern Africa, the larger region of which we recently concluded our conference in Nairobi on 16th of August last month. And we were heavily supported by Brother Kasaun Follow and ZETU. So we'll find that our organization here regards ZETU as a true sister trade union organization. And most of people you hear on this continent, and elsewhere even in the developed world in Europe, we have so many briefcase centers, and whose leaders would like to appear on Facebook, social media, television, but behind them is nobody. I can assure you, ZETU is assertive, ZETU is progressive, and ZETU is serious on workers' representation. And not only ZETU on workers' issue, at the ILO governing body, the Ethiopian government has always played a crucial role on behalf of Africa. In various fields, committees, and on issues, topics, they have articulated things that really are closer to the African people. And they have been, time and again, given opportunity by the African governments to speak on behalf of this continent. And when you hear them speaking at the International Labour Organization in Geneva, whatever they are saying is related to championing the aspirations of the lowly placed laboring poor workers, and that is government. So I will take this opportunity through my brother Kasaun Follow to extend our gratitude, happiness, and thanks to the Ethiopian government through our parent social partner in the government, that is the Ministry of Labor in Ethiopia. I want also to thank Sister Rebecca, who has accompanied me. Sister Rebecca, she's our Treasurer General of KOTU and National Treasurer of her union, that is Commercial Union, Kenya Union of Commercial, Food and Allied Workers Union. And you have done a very good thing to come and give us support. May I start by taking this opportunity to officially welcome you here in Nairobi. Nairobi is the best place for exchanging views and benchmarking in an area of organizing, because Nairobi we will have an opportunity to walk around, is a satellite of economic activities in this region. We have every type of industry here. And even the multinationals, those big corporations that globally operate world over, have their headquarters in Nairobi. And if you have opportunity to go around, you will see that some of the plants that are plans for manufacturing, plans for engineering, plans for anything that you can name of are here in Nairobi. And some places are far much better and higher well equipped than those you see in the developed world. So, and even the headquarters of these multinationals and their buildings in Nairobi here. And that is why Nairobi remains a satellite for economic activities. Not that the activities are 100% owned by Kenyans, but most of them hosted by Kenyans, as Kenya appears to be a economic monitoring center in this region for whoever wants to invest. Not only that, even for civil societies, NGOs, before they move their money to Darfur, northern part of Sudan, or southern Sudan, or in Uganda, or in Tanzania, or those working in Somalia and Djibouti, they would first of all come to Kenya and put their money here, carry out their feasibility studies from this end, and also monitor how safe those places are before they move there. So when you are here, you have a lot of opportunity to learn, and I'm happy that one of these days, one of the program you have is to visit the EPZ. So you will have an opportunity to see what is happening in our EPZs and what they are processing. And I want also to take this opportunity to inform you that the union, our affiliate, Kenya Tailors and Textile Workers Union, has done a very tremendous job in this area by ensuring that they have a recognition agreement and a live collective bargaining agreement between EPZs and the union. And it was not easy for them to get that. They fought on the streets, and with the support of ACIDS, of course, American Center for International Labor Solidarity, we had Sister Mary Ann from US also, who used to come in the EPZs and in the houses of workers to make sure that they were recruited in large numbers to warrant the employer accepting or recognizing the union. And I want also to thank whoever developed the subject of this today's consultative meeting. This is strategies for organizing resistant employers. Employers always stand on the opposite side. Any employer would like to maximize profit at the expense of a worker. So whenever he hears that there is a trade union official outside there, he becomes resistant, he becomes resistant, he becomes uncooperative, and it is our work to make sure that we do penetrate and we achieve what we want. Here in Kenya, we fought hard to make sure that the collective bargaining, CBA, is reflected in the national constitution to make it easier for us, and not only in the national constitution, but in the Bill of Rights, so that it is not easy for anybody, either from government or from employer, social partners, or any area of our social partners to do away with collective bargaining. If you want to remove that collective bargaining clause in Article 41 of our national constitution, you will be called upon to go for a referendum. All Kenyans must say there will be no CBA, which is impossible. Trade unions are fundamental elements of free and democratic society, just as Brother Hannard was in his opening remarks. He said, for the real democracy, for us to realize our freedoms, we must always gauge and see what the trade unions are doing. We are the agents of really true democracy, because we start with what is known as industrial democracy, and to highlight what is happening in various industries where we are employed and where we represent workers. The right for workers to form, join, and pursue their interests collectively in a union remains the main foundation for workers' rights. We must make sure that in our areas of operation, we have free access to where our members are. And when we have that free access to where our members are, we have free access of audience, of getting audience with them. And we must make also sure that after having talked to them, what are the results? The results are that we bring them together to form formidable groups under our trade unions to make sure that collectively they are in a position to champion for their rights. Brothers and sisters, as trade unions, our priorities are to negotiate and win respect. 2, to fight for better wages and benefits and improve the overall living standard of our members. Those are our priorities. But as you rightly did put your topic, that you have got to develop strategies to handle employers who are resistant to change. It is true world over, employers keep engaging in trade union tactics to make sure that we don't have that an access of creating awareness amongst our members, to make sure that we are kept far from recruiting the required number of workers to remain for me. And in some instances, they are supported also by our own social partners like government, so that when we are weak, we cannot be able to stand for our rights. And they use a lot of tactics. One, engineering the dissolutions of the unions. Say, oh, you don't have members here, you have not enough members here, you can't form a union, you must recruit, in case of a case here in Kenya, must recruit more than 51% in order to get recognition from an employer. When you recruit about 60%, 20 they are sacked to remain about 40%, 20% they are dismissed, so that you will never be able to attain that 51%. And that is why we, in our national constitution, in the country's constitution, that is, I think, is para 5 in Article 41, we said that every worker has a right to join and form a trade union of his or her own choice. That is not, para 5 talks about collective bargaining agreement. It says that every worker has a right to collective bargaining agreement. That was to defeat the notion as legislated of 51% before a trade union attains gets recognition from employer. So ours, as per the national constitution, is direct. Even 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, 5 employees can have their own CBA. And employers are busy working out to make sure that you don't attain that number. At one time, sometimes you have collected something, they have given you an office, you have your own furniture there, they will say it to make sure you don't have a place from where to meet. And if workers are to go on strike, they will be there trying to propagate and opposing, so using poor methods, tactics of calling 1 or 2 to 3 people who are active, promising them heavens when they are not in a position to show them where hell is, that you will be one of our senior managers, you will be what? You will be a supervisor. And once a worker accepts that, if he was in labor movement, immediately is given that position, he is also trapped and sacked. They do a lot of things, including declaring workers' redundancies, so that the unions can be weakened. But what employers also fail to understand, that if you have a properly organized labor, you can be in a position to monitor and focus on workers' demands. What do they want in advance? And once you address what workers want, you redouble their efforts in their various places of work, and you will find there is that productivity that you wouldn't have thought of. So it is better always for any employer who has done industrial relations at a higher notch, would always like to work with the trade unions and their leaders, because this supplements productivity in his or his industry or in his enterprise. Me, what I would just want to tell you is that we in Kenya here, we will open up for our brothers from Zetu, not for only 2 days or 3 days. If this would have been, I have been away, next time when Brother Nad will be organizing, we can jointly organize so that when you are here, you can take at least a week. You move from one city to another to see the good work that the trade unions are doing in this country, to support employers, support government, and government also in some places, also they support us, and those employers who are obstinate, we jointly fight them to make sure that they recognize the trade unions and they work with the trade unions. And we have had a lot of problems, particularly from multinationals, because what multinationals would like to do is to maximize profit at the expense of workers, move from one country to another country, trying to apply indirect slavery. In this country now, we have a lot of problems with nationals like Unilever, Kenya Limited, which is part of Unilever of Great Britain. We have also a problem with James Finlay, which is also an international multinational. These are sectors in tea sector of our economy. Very much, they want to make a lot of money at the expense of Kenyan workers, and they don't want to hear anything to do with CBA. And sometimes they want to sit on their own and craft a CBA without involving the trade unions. And they think sometimes unions are just dormant, are just there. Let us prepare an inferior CBA and they will come and append their signature. Sometimes they can think very stupidly, and it is our work to tell them, please, that is not the way to go. We must have a collective and a joint negotiations based on our economic performance of our country and your enterprises internationally and locally performance, and then come out with what is better for a worker, what is better for an employer, and the rest we leave for you to pay taxes to our Kenya government. And sometimes they would not like to hear that. It is our work to make sure that they listen to us. And this is everywhere. And that is why we said, if we are not strong, they will swallow us. Because, for example, like in Kenya, the salaried people are between 7 and 8 million Kenyan workers. If you put all those in informal sector, which are less than 3 million, we have about 10 million Kenyan workers who are paid monthly. And out of this, we have managed only to organize 2.5 million members because of resistance. Unlike in other places where government also stands up to support the union to make sure that everybody is unionizable. So these are some of the things we face, and we would always appeal to those who are pro-union, either from employer side or government side, to make sure that a unionized labor movement is more productive than a non-unionized labor movement. Brothers and sisters, I'm sure you will be sharing a lot of experiences as far as organizing is concerned. Me, Anad will tell you, at George Mini Labor Center in the US, that is where we were trained as early organizers from Africa and Asia. We were a big team, an American trained organizer. But one of the principals, Professor Mackenzie, used to tell us that if you want to be a good organizer, you read the situation first. You must understand the situation that where you want to go and organize people are in, workers, how workers are being treated in that particular place, if it is workers. An organization does not only stop at working place, it goes beyond that. You must understand the nature of the employer, the nature of the employees. And for them, because they have been made to believe that if you join the union, you will be dismissed. This is the language at that particular place. So the first person you want to work on is the employer. Disorganize that employer thoroughly. When he's disorganized, he will get outside there crying. He wants somebody to help him to make sure that workers are properly working. After you have disorganized him, you will also find out who are his henchmen amongst those workers. Try to disorganize those henchmen also thoroughly, and then you will have a better position to organize. This is now, you will have the whole field day to go there and tell them the way forward is this. I can get you out of this quagmire. I can get you out of this problem if you allowed your workers to join the union. And that quagmire must be caused by you. It must be created by you. That problem must be created by you people. So the good organizer is also a good disorganizer. You must know how to disorganize in order to organize. Those are some of the main principles of organizing. So unions, our background are militants. Don't shy away from being militant. A true trade unionist remains militant and firebrand. And you behave as if you didn't go to school in order to achieve what you want. Those are some of the principles that a true trade unionist would always deploy. And if you want to know that those good trade unionists internationally who have achieved and who have made mark are those who behave like that. At ICFTU we had Bill Jordan, who didn't care who you are. And he was an outspoken labor leader, and he could achieve whatever he wanted to achieve. We have Brother Philip Jenkins, for those people who are in the Communication Workers Union. He can say anything under the sun, and he's so brave. He can face any government, including his own British government, you see. So there are those brave leaders globally. It's not only in Africa, but world over. Even the current South African president now, Brother Ramaphosa, when he was in the trade union movement, he was a firebrand, and he could say anything under the sun, like Brother Marema, what he's doing in South Africa. Say what you want in pursuit of workers' defense. So as you are here, you will have an opportunity to see how we are fighting to organize our workers and how some notorious employers are resistant to trade unions. But we want to thank Brother Hannard, and I want to assure you that the next trip to this country, Kenya, COTU jointly with ASILS, we will organize for you to be here for more days so that you can have an opportunity to visit our college at Tom Mboya Labour College, which is far away from here. But what I can assure Kenyans who are here, who have never been to Addis Ababa, who have never been to Ethiopia, is that in Ethiopia we have a strong labor movement, free and independent. That one I can assure you, because of the good work Brother Kasaun has done. And Brother Kasaun has not only done that in Ethiopia, but when we have a problem at Owatu, where I'm a president, he would always come in handy to assist us to resolve such a problem. And also even at ILO International, when we are taking an African position, he would always be with us to make sure that we succeed. Let me end there by officially declaring this symposium open. Thank you.